Hello. Welcome to the Community Homeworks workshop this evening. We're so glad that you're joining us tonight. My name is Tiana Harrison, and I'm the Education and Volunteer Coordinator tonight. This Green Living Series workshop was made possible by the generous support of the Kalamazoo Community Foundation's Love Where You Live Environment Fund. Sorry. Community Homeworks is a nonprofit organization with a mission to empower homeowners to maintain safe, sustainable, and dignified homes. We get our funding from grants, gifts, and donations. So if you find value in this workshop tonight, we encourage you to donate to on our website, communityhomeworks.org. If you're watching this live, please feel free to comment and let us know where you're tuning in from. Also, if you would like to join in on the discussion or ask a question, please put that in the comments as well. If you're watching this after the live broadcast, we're still happy to answer your questions. It just may take us a little longer to respond. Tonight's workshop is our Green Living Series roofing systems, and our instructor is Mr. Tim Johnson. Thanks for being here, Mr. Johnson. We look forward to learning more about roofing systems.
It's great to be here. Winter is coming. Nobody wants to think about it, but it is. And there are some things that really should be addressed seasonally for your roof. And we're going to talk about those components. But first and foremost, let's talk about safety. I'm not encouraging you to jump up on your roof and make repairs yourself, but I do want you to be familiar with the components. When you get estimates from contractors, I always recommend more than one. When you get estimates, you have some idea of what they're talking about, how it's going to be put together. And so in your mind, you can make sense of what exactly is going on. Now, starting with safety, for those that are nimble and energetic and they do want to address things on their roof, what I recommend is that when you put a ladder up against the house, you will take, if you have a water softener in your basement, that's usually what I take with me if I'm working by myself and I have to get up on a roof. I will take that bag of salt and I will put it on the bottom rung so the ladder won't slide out on the ground if it's on concrete on the driveway. That's about the last thing I want to think about when I'm going to look at someone's roof and I'm there by myself, is that what's going to happen if the thing slides out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a ladder, and with Jason's help, he's going to kind of manipulate the camera here. And I'll show you what we'll do at the eave edge. Excuse me, I'm going to sneak right behind you here. Thank you. We're going to pretend that this is an extension ladder, and it's going to go up to the gutter. Let me move this camera here. It's going to go up to the gutter. Now, in this gutter, there are hidden brackets that hold this gutter in place, and they're attached with screws into the fascia. And this is a spike and ferrule, and this is a hidden bracket. So what I do is when I'm on the ground, I will lean my ladder up against the gutter like that. I will take this bungee around my neck. I will put my bag of salt, or if it's in the wintertime and you have to get up there, sometimes you have sand in the back of your vehicle. I've used that too. Those tubes of sand, lay it across the bottom so the ladder won't scooch out. Then I'll safely climb the ladder. I'll leave 3 foot above the eave edge of my ladder. And then when I get up to the top, before I climb off, I will hook my bungee onto the gutters. This is a little bit long, so I'd wrap it around like this. And then I would put it around here and hook it onto this edge of the gutter. So then my ladder is firmly attached to the roof edge. Now I feel a bit more safe. And then what I like to do is once I attach my ladder and it's firmly affixed to the gutter, I will climb up to the ridge directly above this. The other option is, I always do that, but the other option is to make sure that your ladder is lined up with what's called your vent pipe. Now, your vent pipe is around here. Here we are. Your vent pipe is right here. So when you look up on your roof, you will see a vent that comes up out of your roof like this. Now, what I like to do is I like to line my ladder up with this vent pipe that'll be up toward the middle or the top of your roof. And I will actually line up with that. So when I climb off the ladder, I'll go directly up to the vent pipe, and I have a rope that I wrap around there. So as I'm coming down to my ladder, I can hold that rope. And then when I get to my ladder, I let go of one side of the rope, reel it back in. I'm safely back on the ladder, and I can go about my business. But like I said, if you're not nimble, do not get on the roof, hire it done. And now I'm going to move forward with the rest of the roofing program here. That's our safety bit. Okay, roofing components. This is a basic roof assembly right here. Now we'll start at the roof deck itself. The roof deck itself is 7/16 or half-inch OSB, or it is 1x6s or 1x8s that are nailed right next to each other all the way up the roof. That's called the substrate. That's your sheathing, your roof sheathing. Now, over the top of that, in Michigan, we are required to install ice and water shield. Ice and water shield is this membrane that I'm pulling on right here. The top of it is brown in color. You can see it right here, and I'm going to grab a piece of it and show you. That's what it looks like before you apply it to the roof, except it's 3 feet wide, comes in a roll, and you roll it out parallel with the drip edge. So this whole 3-foot piece would roll across here and stick down to your OSB or whatever your substrate happens to be on your sheathing. That is going to go down. And then in Michigan, we're required to have ice and water shield 18 inches within the heated envelope of the home. So you go back, your soffit, which is right here. This is your roof. Then it comes down in the front right here where your gutter is. That's called fascia. Then we have soffit. If you have a soffit that's 18 inches, when you come up here, you have to be, here's the wall of your house. The wall of your house is a 2x4 wide. This is the heated assembly of your home. Straight up from here is where you need to be protected with ice and water shield, from here all the way down. So 3 feet would be right in this area here somewhere. We always go 2 courses of ice and water shield. Always. Every roof, I put 2 courses of ice and water shield. And that will help prevent the ice dam. It's not going to stop your ice dam, but it's going to prevent it from leaking into your home. It's impervious to water. It is actually waterproof, as where shingles are not waterproof, shingles are water resistant. So now, once your ice and water shield is down, then you apply the felt. The felt will then, after we have our 6 feet of ice and water shield, then we will start to roll felt. Felt is a vapor barrier. It's saturated felt. It's asphalt saturated felt. And I will cut a piece off here. This is called 30-pound, and this is very heavy. You can use 15, you can use 30. This is some thick stuff. This is generally utilized on low slope roofs. When you have a sloped roof that is 312 or less, a 312, 212, you're required to use 1 layer of this or 2 layers of 15-pound ore, all covered completely with ice and water shield, which is what I do. Anything 312 or less is 100% ice and water shield. So now we've talked about your underlayment. So your underlayment goes all the way up the balance of the roof. This is the ridge beam right here. Right here is the ridge. So we felt that all the way up to the top and stop 2 inches short of the top of the roof. That winds up getting cut open for your ridge vent. This is ridge vent. Most houses have them. This is the most popular way of venting a roof now. This will be bent to the angle of your roof like this. This would match the peak of your roof and then get nailed on. Once this is nailed on the ridge, we would come right behind. Hard time keeping this folded, but we would come right behind and then start to apply ridge cap shingles right over the top. So it would go, we're going to pretend this is the ridge beam right here. That's what it's depicting here. We would apply the ridge vent. We would bend it over to the side, nail it down, and then we would apply the cap shingles like this, nail those down with 3-inch nails, and then that would compose our ridge. So we've got shingles, we've got ice and water, we've got drip edge, we've got felt, we've got shingles, we've got the ridge vent, and then we've got the cap shingles. Now, certain things you're going to find on the roof. Those are the main components to it. But you're going to have certain appurtenances here, like your plumbing vent. You're going to have these penetrating through the roof. So what would happen here is there would be the vent would get shingled in, and then this would come up through. This is called a flashing boot. You can get them metal. Like this, and you can spray paint them to match the color of your roof, or you can just get the black poly, and you don't have to worry about them rusting. They're both equally as good, no issues with either. Now, when your roof, sometimes we find issues if your roof is, between 13, 15, right around that age. We wind up going into people's homes. They say, Tim, my roof is leaking. It's in my bathroom or it's in my kitchen. Immediately, I'm thinking, okay, a vent is utilized to vent the plumbing system so you can drain, flush a toilet without creating a vacuum. So these are usually near your bathroom group, your kitchen. So the vents usually go up right behind the stool, the toilet, and go up through the roof. So when one of these neoprene seals go bad, right here, this is pliable neoprene here. When these go bad, the water tends to leak down the sides of these and then drip into the bathroom. So that's one of the first things I think about. Well, you can go to a roofing supply store such as like ABC. That's probably the closest around here, SRS. And you can get a ring, a replacement neoprene ring, and that will slide right down over the pipe. You use a sealant around the top called M1, and you can reseal that. That doesn't mean you need a new roof. It doesn't mean you need a new vent. You just need a new neoprene seal on there. So you can do that. So this will be one item that you will see that will penetrate your roof. You'll want to make sure that they're including all new flashings. This is considered flashing. This is a flashing boot, a pipe flashing. Next thing that we don't see enough of that is really frustrating is this vent hood right here. When I get called into a home, and generally I'm getting called for a mold issue, I kind of look at the style of the home. I'm looking at everything as I come up to the house, and I'm going to try to ascertain where the level of moisture is coming from that's allowing mold to grow. Mold really needs 60% relative humidity to incubate a good colony. So if they've got cold wall syndrome, is usually what I find in a bathroom. I want to know why I'm finding it there. If they have mold in their attic, I want to get down to the bottom of that. Well, generally, it has a lot to do with this, or the lack of one of these. This is actually for a range vent, but you can get these for a bathroom vent. It's just a 4-inch hole. There's a flapper on the inside of this one, so it prevents drafting down in and allowing cold air through your range vent above your stove. And they have that too in the 4-inch. But you need to make sure that your bath fan, number one, that you have a bath fan. Number two, that you utilize a bath fan. And number three, that bath fan is attached and taped with insulated pipe. Insulated pipe will come from your bath fan all the way up to your exhaust vent, taped around here with aluminum tape, not duct tape, aluminum tape. And then this is firmly affixed to the roof and shingled around. Very important. You want to make sure that you have a bath fan exhaust vent. Another item that you will find is called a turtle vent. You can get these in black and you can get these in metal. Plastic or metal. Plastic come in black. The metal ones, you can get different colors, and those are also, you're able to spray paint. You can get a color match spray paint to your shingles, and you can have your roof color coordinated. But this side goes to the top, and you will find these on the roof too. That is called a turtle vent, and that allows ventilation to the roof. We're going to do a quick talk about ventilation because winter is coming, and it's incredibly important for the health of your roof and the health of your home. So now this is one component of that you need to ventilate a roof. The other component is called a baffle. This is a baffle, and this one has been beat up. It's styrofoam. It's just like an egg crate. When you pick up a dozen eggs. That's exactly what this feels like. It's light, it's styrofoam. And what this does is this provides an air channel for cool air to come up from your soffit. This is stapled to the backside of your roof, the substrate that we talked about. In between the rafters or the trusses, this is actually stapled. You take a staple gun, you staple it. Like the outside wall of your house would be right back here. So this sticks out over into the soffit so the cold air can get up here. Your wall is coming up like this wall that we talked about right here. This would come all the way out here over your soffit. And then this would allow air to flow up into your attic space without having the insulation cover the path to allow it to perform convection. Because essentially that's what we're doing here. When you have a vented soffit right here, and then you have baffles that go into this space right here and go up 4 feet. And then your insulation, here's the ceiling. Your insulation is going to go like this through here. This allows air to flow up in through here and then get out the ridge vent. You want your attic space to be as close as we can to the cold air outside in the winter. We do not want the attic space to stay warm. We want it to be cold. And so this component and a ventilated soffit are the two things that it takes. Once you have those and you get your attic space as cold as you can, you do want to make sure you have adequate insulation so you're not transferring the heat from the heated assembly of your home into that attic space, because that's going to run up your energy bills. But those are very important things. Ventilation is huge for the longevity of your roofing system. When you have a roof that's not ventilated properly, the shingles will curl, they'll crack. There's a multitude of issues that will happen prematurely to your roof. There are different types of roofing materials that you can choose. This is called a 3-tab right here, and it's called a 3-tab for pretty obvious reasons. I've got an example of a 3-tab shingle. 1, 2, 2 3/4. It's really 3. This one just got clipped off here, but that is called a 3-tab shingle. That's what this style is. The other style that you can get that we're going to talk about is a dimensional shingle, which is right here. This is the newer style. It's designed to simulate a shake shingle type roof. And that's how different it looks. It's just a newer style. It doesn't show as many imperfections in your roof because of the texture of the shingle. I prefer these. I prefer to put these down. I generally don't even put 3 tabs down anymore. But if you like the 3 tabs, if it fits the style of your home, or you're just replacing one slope of your home, um, you can go back with 3 tabs. There's no reason you can't. Let's hang out there for just a second. So you call a guy like me to come over to the house, and you say, Tim, I've got my roof is leaking, and I just need it fixed. I don't want to replace my entire roof. A tree limb came down and it damaged my roof. I don't want to file an insurance claim because I don't think it's going to cost that much to take care of. Tim, what can you do? So what I would do is I would look at your roof, and I see this all the time. It irritates me when roofers do this. Oh, yes, ma'am, we have to replace the entire roof. We can't simply patch that. Well, that I want to say that's garbage, but we're going to talk about that just a little bit here. I don't know how far this goes over. I've consumed so much of this board. What we do have to be careful of, let's say your roof looks like, let's say it looks like this with a valley here and then comes off this way and then a ridge here. And I'll describe what this is in a minute. Okay, so now this is a ridge. This is the peak here. And this goes down. This is a downslope, 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 downslope. So now we're going to go this, and then maybe we'll do like a dormer right here, where there'd be some siding here, like this, and a window, and then this. So let's say that you had a tree come down and you hit like an area right here. Well, what we're going to have to address there, because these valleys tie together right now, and it depends on the type of valley you have, but a woven valley is the most popular. That's going to get into this valley. So if you had an issue to patch here, you could do this slope and this slope. Both of these, along with this dorm, would have to be taken care of because they are tied in with this valley. You would have to do all of these slopes, but you could stop at the ridge. You're not going to see the back side of this roof and the back side of this roof from the front side of this house. They can stop right at the ridge. Will it match perfectly? No. But can you do it? Absolutely you can. What if the tree hit right here? Well, we could just replace this one slope, because these would be caps that go along here. This is a ridge that goes down to the eave. So this would be just these cap shingles that tie these two roofs together. They would be folded over like this. And I'm sorry, this may be as clear as mud, but I find this a lot. These would be cap shingles that would be here, that would just come all the way up here to the peak. And then these would be caps that come across here, and then caps that go here. You could just replace this one slope and then tie it in here with these caps. So be careful if a roofer comes to you and you simply are at their mercy and you need a repair. If they tell you they have to do the whole thing, find somebody else. They may tell you they can't warranty it. That could be the case, depending on what they're going to do, but it can be done. So find a roofer that is willing to do what's necessary. And of course, if it is large enough, file an insurance claim, and then you can have it taken care of, especially if a covered peril happens to your home, which is most generally wind, hail, or a tree limb, something like that. Your chimney collapses and damages it. Collapse is covered by insurance. That would cover the repair also. But that's another rabbit hole. So here's a little drawing I did. Now this is the inside. Let's say this is the house that's kind of tilted here just for our viewing pleasure. This is the attic space with the insulation. These are the rafters. This is the ridge beam. And then we have these baffles that go in between each and every one of these rafters. These are all rafters that go down. Make sure you have enough insulation in here. That needs to be. Now, when I had mentioned if you have trusses, quite often they're 2 feet on center. You'd actually put 2 of those baffles in each bay. Well, how are you going to know if it's a truss or a rafter system? What you can do is you can go to your scuttle hole for your attic. It's usually at the top of your stairs, or if you live in a newer home, cruel people like to hide them in closets that are very tiny. The holes are very tiny, and they're in the kids' closet that's packed full of everything. You'll find that little scuttle hole right there. Climb up there, open it up, shine a flashlight. If you see something like this that has these metal gusset plates where your webbing ties into your top cord and bottom cord, and at your ridge, and then where your heel meets your bottom cord, these will have these gusset plates or wave plates. They're mechanically pressed in. This is an engineered roofing system right here. This was designed for your home. If it's a truss, you can't cut them. You're not supposed to drill them. But you can look up there and you can say, okay, yeah, it's a truss. That's going to be 2 feet on center. If you look up there and they are just pieces of wood that are nailed off to like a 2x8 that goes down the middle of your ridge beam, and they don't have any of these, they just span all the way down, that's called a rafter system. And those are generally 16 inches on center, and that would just take one of those baffles. Okay, let me kind of go down my list here. Let's talk about other materials for roofing. We've got a couple of types here. We've got a corrugated plastic. This is corrugated. I've never applied a plastic or a composite type corrugated steel before, but I have done what's called galvalume. You find that a lot on older barns, older outbuildings, things of that nature. I think this might be good on a covered porch. I don't really feel like I would put this over my home. It's pretty thin, but over like a garden shed or something along those lines, I think this could be good. But it does show the corrugated style. It's just a nice wave. That's one. This is another. This is called R panel or ribbed panel, and this is like an agricultural type steel. I see a couple interesting things when I look at this. And when you put this down over purlins. I'm going to do a little diagram here because a lot of people like to use this. If they have a bad roof, a lot of people like to put steel over it. And I'll just quick show you kind of how that goes on. They're called purlins. So what we're going to do is I'm going to draw a truss or a rafter system. It goes like this. Then we have our subfascia that comes out here like this. This is the ridge up here. So then what you do is every 2 feet, this is where the gutter would attach. This is where our ridge vent goes. Every 2 feet, you would put a 2x4 across. That's called a purlin. So these purlins go across all the way up, and then we put one at the top here. We put one at the bottom right here. Okay, so those are called purlins. So now what we do is we take this steel, and we can attach this steel right to those purlins. That's why generally, if we had a bigger piece, you'd see the holes. This has been applied before. The holes go straight across this way on it going this way because they actually screw these into purlins. They're called purlins. Now, when you go to install steel, I see holes on the tops of these ridges. That is not, even though common sense tells you, yeah, water runs down here. I don't want it to get to my screws. Well, the problem is, and you can see with this one, the screw is not on center. That washer is not going to seal that hole properly. That's why you screw them into the flats. You screw them into these areas so the neoprene washer that is going to seal this opening sets flat and seats well against this steel. Back in the day, they used to use lead washers, and as unhealthy as they are for the environment and the people that applied them, because they toss them in their mouth and spit them out, put them on a nail and bang them in, they worked much better than the neoprene. The neoprene, the UV rays tend to deteriorate them, and the next thing you know, you've got a drip coming in, and they're pretty tough to find. You have to use a little vacuum. It looks like a little atomizer. Get on your roof and go to every screw and see where the bulb sucks air. You squeeze it out, you put it over the top, and then when it sucks air, that means that neoprene washer is leaking. There's not a seal there, and so you back that one out and you put a new one in there. It's really a hassle when it happens. There is another type of roof. It's called the standing seam roof. If you're going to put it on your home, I'd recommend that over this. And the price difference, if you get it at Menards, they have what's called a Pro Rib. It's much more reasonable than it used to be. It used to be very, very expensive. Now it's just moderately expensive with COVID pricing. It has gone up. All metal has, but it's a much better idea than this. This is still good for sidewall. People do still put it on roofs, but I'm not sure that I'd be real thrilled with that application unless you put it down over a roof that was completely covered in ice and water shield. So if water does get behind there, when a screw goes through this, it completely seals around that screw, and the water will run off underneath it and not penetrate into the building. But that's about it for me on steel roofs. They are good, but only when they're applied in the proper conditions, and it's prepared the proper way with ice and water shield, or maybe an outbuilding or something like that. Kind of shaky with this type on a main roof. Okay.
Tim, just a quick question.
Sure.
I've seen people use that metal roofing over shingles, that they don't take the shingles off. They just screw it right down through the shingle. I assume that's a problem. What's the deal with that?
That is not a problem. And what you can do is you put felt down first. That's a great question, first of all. You can put felt down over the roof. Now, the problem, if there's going to be a problem, the problem comes in when the steel expands and contracts with the granules on the back of the steel. That's where it'll take the finish off the back of the steel, and the steel roof can rust. That's where the rub comes in. However, once again, if you prep that surface and you take a roll of this felt and put it over the top of your shingles, or you take 1x2s and put them down like purlins over the surface of your shingles, you can mount the steel right over the top. Steel is very light. Steel is much lighter than a shingle. Shingles used to be, now most shingles are 30-year shingles. Back in the day, when you were going to go buy a shingle, you'd say you'd want a 240, a 300, I think a 280. And what that referred to is the amount of weight per 10 by 10 square you were going to be applying to that roof. It was the weight of a square of shingles. And that's how you determine the quality of the shingles, because the heavier the shingle, the more granules you have on that shingle. And the more granules you have, the longer the life. But it does add weight. So you'd get a 200, a 240, and a 300. I think that's what it was, actually, come to think of it. It's been so long ago. They finally got smart, and they said, you know what? We've got all these factories running 3 different types of shingles. Let's just go with a 30-year, come up with a better warranty on the shingles, and we'll just run a 30-year. And so that's what they've done. They added more granules, they added more zinc and more copper to change the pH level, so you don't see as much streaking on roofs. The black streaks that come down a roof, that's called algae. And when you have algae growth on your roof, that itself isn't going to hurt your shingle, but everything that likes to eat that algae, lichen and moss, that will damage your roof. They have hyphae, they have roots, they grab onto the granules. And then when we have a hard rain, it washes that off the roof, and the hyphae will take granules with it, and the granules are the life of the shingle. When the granules are gone, it exposes that fiberglass mat to the UV rays, turns white, deteriorates, and its useful life is pretty much over. So, yes, you can put steel over the top. It is not a problem, but you do want to put felt over the top of the granules to stop any friction that might be generated there. Or you could put 1x2s down over the surface and then utilize those as purlins, and then screw your new steel right into those 1x2s. Yes.
Tim, may I ask a question about partial roof repair?
Yeah.
How would you go about asking for this service without being tricked into replacing the entire roof?
And that was my point with this. There, if you have a valley that connects the two, I'm going to do a quick drawing here, and I'll show how valleys come together. So we've got a house that's in the shape of an L. This is the ridge. It's in the shape of an L right here. And then it goes into the corner over. We have a valley right here. This is where the eaves trough is that goes around this side, just to get oriented with what I have going. So then our shingles are going across like this, and then the same here, okay? And they shingle all the way up. Well, when you start out, let's just say this is all plywood right now. It's all plywood. So then what we would do is, when there's just plywood down, we would take a roll of ice and water shield. It's 3 feet wide. We'd peel the back off of it, and we would put 1.5 feet on this side of the valley and 1.5 feet on this side. So this is all ice and water shield, okay? Then when we start to shingle, we would shingle one side all the way over and then lap it over on this side. So our shingles would actually, be laying on this roof and actually go across this valley and lay down like this. So let's say it'd be going like this. They would flop down on the other side of that valley. So one roof actually ties into the other side. So if you strip off one side, if there's enough damage you have to strip off one side, we would wind up doing both of these. Now, if you just had a couple shingles that were gone, what you can do is you know what? I'll leave this right here. You can take a pry bar and a hammer. You, not being you, but an agent of you, somebody that you hire, could actually go up with a caulk gun, neoprene roof cement called blackjack, or this is flashing cement, and 1.5 inch electro-galvanized roofing nails, which are right here. They're completely smooth. They're smooth shank. And you can swap out a shingle very easily. Or your roofer can. So basically what would happen is, let's say this shingle was, I'm going to go with one more right here. Let's say this shingle was damaged. What I would do is, there are nails right above each of these rain lines. These are called rain lines right here. So we will hopefully pop a nail in here. We'll pop nails in here like that. So now we need to get this shingle out. What we would do is I would just lift this up. I would try to pry this. This is pretty flat. This doesn't have much of a bend on it. But what I would do is I would pry this nail out of this shingle, just like that. And then I would take that shingle, that nail, I'd put it in my hand, I'd hang on to it. I would not let it roll down the roof. Because when you get up and step on one of those, it's going to do damage to the roof, or you can lose your balance when your foot slips out from underneath you. So I'm going to carefully remove this nail because I don't want to damage that shingle. And then I can go up underneath this one right here and do the same thing. I will pry that nail out. I will lift this shingle up. I will pull that nail out. I will slide under here. I will pry that nail out. When it sticks up here, I'll pull it out, and I'll do the same on the end. Like that. I'll pull that nail out, and now at that point, this shingle is sitting in place until I make sure that all the tar is released here. And then I will slide that shingle out just like that. And then I'll go grab another shingle, the new shingle, out of my shingle bag. And I will slide this right back in its place. I'll get it right up to the tab where it's supposed to be. It'll slip right in there. It's the same size. And then I will lift this shingle up. And I will nail that back in. Each place it's required to have a nail, which is right on the shingle bag. It'll tell you where to apply nails. Nail this right back on. Then I will pound these nails back in. I'll take these and I'll put the nails right where they were as long as I didn't fracture it. If I did, I'll move off to the side. Then at the end, I will take my caulk tube and I will put a dab on top of this nail. On top of this nail, I will put a dab on the top of this nail, this nail, this nail, and then I will put a dab underneath this shingle so it sticks down here and also here. And then that's it. That's how I'd slide it out. So you can do shingle replacements. I do a lot of insurance work, and quite often that's what I'm paid to do, is replace a certain number of shingles on a slope. That's done all the time. Once again, you're going to get resistance from a roofer because they want to replace the entire roof. So you'll have to find someone that will do it. And quite often it's not one of the big guys. They want to just tell you it's got to be the whole thing because that's where they make their money. It might need to be a handyman or something like that. A repair. You have a few damaged shingles, and you would like a shingle repair. You'd like shingle replacement. They'll say, well, they're not going to match. Well, I understand they're not going to match, but let's get as close as we can. There are a lot of different types of shingles, and just like these are going to change colors with the weather. You know, we had talked about algae growing on roofs. They don't look the same as they did when they were applied. So when you put a new shingle on there, it's not going to look exactly the same, but if you just need shingles replaced, you have to be willing to accept that. So when they say, well, the shingles aren't going to match, well, that's okay. I'm prepared for that. I understand that. I just have shingles that were damaged from a big icicle that was on my house. It took a chunk of a shingle off. I found it on the ground. It's really got me worried. I just like it replaced. I understand it's not going to match. Please do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. I will go back to my list. Okay. Flashing. You know, I had mentioned make sure they replace all your flashings. There are a couple flashings here that we didn't talk about. If you have now with newer homes, a lot of times, as I look around here, I see a water heater over there that has plastic that goes out the side. I see a furnace here that's vented with plastic. That's also generally going to be ventilated out the side of the house. So masonry chimneys were a big thing. A lot of times they aren't being utilized, but they're still penetrating the roof. If that's the case, if you've gotten a new furnace, water heater, you're no longer using that, when it comes time for a new roof, have them take the chimney down below the roof level and they can just terminate it right there. That's one less penetration in the roof to leak. But if you are still utilizing your chimney, there will be flashing that's put around the sides of that. When you're going to have two types of flashing. You're going to have this step card flashing that's going to go every course of shingles. Let me grab these. Every course of shingles. Let's say the chimney is right here. Right along this side of the roof right here. So we're pretending this is a chimney. What I would do is at every course that comes in contact with that chimney, I would slide a step card shingle in there, just like this. That would go right up the side of the chimney. And it would look like that. That is how you flash a roof wall or a chimney penetration. Now, that's only half of it. When that is done, then we come back behind with Z flashing, which would be bent just like this. It would match the color of your roof, but it would be bent in a Z like this. Then what I would do is, remember this is your chimney right here. I would measure this up, and then I would take a chalk line, and I would make a line across the chimney, and I would grab my 4-inch grinder with a diamond blade, and I would cut 1/2 inch into that chimney. I would cut 1/2 inch deep into that chimney. Then, when I was done with that, I would put this counter flashing. This counter flashing would go into the side of the chimney where I just cut it, and then go over the top of those step cards. So those step cards are the flashing. This is the counter flashing. It's a 2-step process. If they're not going to do that, if they estimate your roof and they say, "Oh yeah, we'll put plastic flashing or tar flashing on there," well, this is called flashing, but any roofer that's going to utilize this on your roof, you're not going to use. You're not going to want him. That he's not the guy. If you are having your roof repaired, then it's okay to use plastic cement or this blackjack material, but only if they go to ABC Supply or SRS and get granules that match your roof, apply this caulk or out of a can with a spatula, and then patch whatever it is that's leaking, and then take those granules, take them by the handful, and pack them in to the cement. This does not hold up to ultraviolet rays. UV rays from the sun will absolutely turn this white and crack it in no time. Couple years, and it's just a chronic maintenance issue. And when we put a roof on, there is not a reason that you should have to get up on that roof and do anything. Nothing at all. Only clean your gutters. But other than that, nothing else. But this, again, if you're going to use this for flashing, this is 1/2 of it. The other half is the bag of granules. It's just the stones. You can buy them separately in a bag. They must be pressed into this really hard so it's completely protected from the sun. Speaking of that, let's talk gutter guards here. If you are having to get up on your roof to address gutters, um, this is an open cell. I don't know if I can get. I think I can get this out of here. This foam is really nice. It allows water flow through, but it will not allow debris down into the gutters. It's very good. They've also got a micro screen that I personally got sucked into that one, and I'm still pretty happy with it. But the thing is, I've got a lot of trees around my house, and it's fine, but the screen is so fine that if it rains really hard, the water still flows over the top because the holes are so small that it just rushes, it inundates that screen, and it just flows right over. I believe this type would be a little bit better, but eventually this is going to collect some granules that are going to fall into this open cell. And I feel like eventually this is going to be an issue too. But I can tolerate a little water coming over my gutters. I'm just glad I don't have to climb back up on to the roof to clean the gutters anymore. Now, what you can do, and we do this, if I have, oh, good, thank you. There are a couple types of gutter guards here too. These are a little bit larger. These will be applied with screws. These will get screwed in. This one has a clip, and this will get clipped in. This will go up underneath and then clip in. This has a screen on the back side. I don't really have any experience with these. Like I said, I happen to go with the micro screen that's stainless. But these can be good too. I don't have anything negative to say about them. I just haven't personally used them. I've taken them off the roof to do roofing and put them back on, but I don't have any of these on my house. I've never had those types. Oh, the other thing, you can get the type that I put on my house from Menards pretty inexpensively. And I offer my customers that, hey, if you want to go get your materials, we'll put them on. While we're up there, it's going to cost you like $5 a foot, something to go buy them. It's like $5 a foot, I believe, if you get them at Menards, and then we'll attach them for $1 a foot. But I'd recommend that if you don't want to get up on your roof to clean the gutters, it is a great idea. Whatever you can afford, it's all going to help better than absolutely nothing. So let me see. Any other questions you can think of, Jason? Okay. What's that? Oh, I believe that we're in pretty good shape here. After they're done doing your roof, make sure that they go around and first of all rake. Well, let's back that up. If you have foliage around your house, it should be expected. You should expect them to put plywood from the sides of your house out over your foliage. That is not an unreasonable request. Have them protect everything around your house. Have them put tarps down underneath that. So as it slides down the wood, it can be dropped into a tarp. Have them go around and rake first, then go around with a rolling magnet or a sweep magnet and try to get all the nails. Will they be able to get every single one? Probably not, but you want them to make a very good effort. That's very important. References. Make sure you get references and call on them. Just because they hand you references, oh, well, gosh, this is good. What I do with my customers is I say, look, these are the last 5 roofs we've put on. Call them. You'll get the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't care which ones you call. I'm going to give you the last 5. As long as they say, hey, can I have them give you a call? They'll tell you. I do that with all my customers, whether it's a roof, whether it's a fire job I'm doing. Say, look, we're about ready to finish up this lady's house. You can talk to her about it. She'll tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. do the same thing. Do your check on your roofer. Call the building department. See what they know. There's a lot of people that do a lot of shady things. Don't become a victim of that. You can also call Jason. I'm sure Jason has some referrals here. Just make sure you vet them properly. And I believe that's going to wind us up.
Thank you so much, Tim,
Sure.
for all of the information that you've shared with us. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Wanted to say again that this Green Living Series workshop was made possible by the generous support of the Kalamazoo Community Foundation's Love Where You Live Environment Fund. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.